So Eskom is coming under a lot of pressure, and to discuss, we're joined by Professor Sampson Mamphweli from the Centre of Renewable and Sustainable Energy Studies. He's the director at Stellenbosch University. Prof, great to have you with us as always. It sounds like Eskom itself is scrambling. It's delayed the maintenance of Koeberg Unit 1, but all the international contractors are here, it says. And when Koeberg Unit 1 gets maintained, it's offline for 6 months or more. So Eskom releasing the statement saying that will now be deferred from today until Saturday. But when it happens, I mean, are we heading for stage 7 or 8 before the end of the year, possibly, or early into next year?
Good evening to you and the viewers. It depends on many things. The first thing is for Eskom to be able to identify the source of the problems in terms of the breakdowns and get, if they want to do the maintenance much quicker, they need to get the original equipment manufacturers on site as quickly as possible. So basically, they need to get the people who manufactured the parts or the equipments that have that are failing to come in and assist. And that process starts with proper identification of the problem. Now, if it's a matter of sabotage, like what the minister said and what Eskom has been saying, it becomes a difficult one because you never know. That one has got a human element. You never know when the saboteurs will strike, and they can strike any time depending on their what interest they're trying to push. So we expected that the situation will get a little bit worse before it gets better with the implementation of the plan that the president put in place. But we didn't expect a jump from stage 2 or stage 3 load shedding directly to stage 6 load shedding. We expected that it will go up gradually and then go down gradually as well. So it raises the big question of whether there are acts of sabotage within Eskom, like what the minister said and what Eskom has said. And if they take down the Koeberg unit that they're supposed to take down for refueling so that they can get the license from NERSA to continue operating it, that takes away about 900 megawatts from the grid. And that puts additional strain on the grid as well, which increases the risk of load shedding, which is why they had to avoid taking it down now while they're trying to resolve the current problems. I can't rule out the possibility of stage 7 load shedding, looking at the way things happened the past few days, and looking at the fact that at this point in time, Eskom has not yet issued a statement indicating what exactly has broken down, which basically means that they may still be busy with problem diagnostics.
And like you said, those big jumps in terms of stages suggest there's something going awry, something highly unpredictable. But there are two claims of sabotage here, Prof. The one claim from Minister Pravin Gordhan suggesting that there could be sabotage within Eskom, and that has been speculated about for a while. But what about the claim by Gwede Mantashe, the quote here, suggesting that Eskom has ulterior motives to, quote, by not attending to load shedding, Eskom is actively agitating for the overthrow of the state. That's an incredible statement by a minister. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I don't know what basis, because that statement does not have the technical background. And as academics, we always look at things from the technical background or the evidence kind of background. And if you look at the technical background, the energy availability factor for Eskom power stations has been going down ever since 2010. In 2010, it was about above 85%. By now, it's below 60%. And some of the experts have also predicted that it's not going to get to 75% that the shareholder compact is calling for anytime soon. because of the maintenance backlog. We've got some maintenance backlog dating back to 2013. And I agree with Ted when he was saying that there are issues around maintenance and issues around the delay in the release of funding and things like that. The Eskom problem it's a bigger problem than it's not a simplistic problem where somebody can just make a statement without looking at the data itself. Data tells us that the system has been degrading for quite a long time. This is a system that has got on average of 40 years in terms of the lifespan of the various power stations, excluding Medupi and Kusile. And even Medupi and Kusile have got design flaws, and there are also challenges with them that every now and then you've got trips, you've got things blowing up, which are mainly due to human error. And some of them, Eskom has indicated that it could be some acts of sabotage. So if the two power stations, Medupi and Kusile, work to full capacity, that can also assist the country in terms of easing the situation. But going back to the statement by the minister, one cannot validate that particular statement. Yeah. And I cannot dismiss it as well because I don't know what information he's got or what data he is basing the statement on.
Possibly, he's looking at the fact that Andre de Ruyter came in and said we will focus on maintenance, and sometimes the lights will not be on because we have to focus on maintenance. And that's been a couple of years now, and the energy availability factor that you talk about hasn't gone up. So we're not seeing the fruits of what Eskom has been doing for quite a while now.
Yeah, so that also has got a number of factors attached to it. So when Andre de Ruyter came in and then he said we will focus on maintenance and all that, he was talking about regular maintenance or what we could call preventative maintenance. I don't think at that particular point in time he had a full appreciation or comprehension of the challenges that he later learned about. I mean, you've got situations where some of the parts have become obsolete because these parts were supposed to have been changed long time ago. So when something small breaks down, Eskom needs to change a much bigger part because the bigger you can't find a part that fits or that can replace that small part that is broken down. So those are some of the issues that Andre de Ruyter had to learn over time. The Eskom procurement process itself, it's a laborious process that results in delays in getting the parts. There've been acts of corruption that were reported along the lines of procurement and things like that. So I don't think Andre de Ruyter at that particular point in time he had a full comprehension of what was before him.
Professor, all of this has overshadowed the good news today that 13 new power projects under bid window 5 were signed in. But I think looking at the details, it really shows how long it takes. They will only come online in 2025. So there's a rush now to get renewables online, but it'll take years for them to actually feed into the grid and make a difference. And my question to you is, if Minister Gwede Mantashe had rushed earlier, as some people claim, if he had not focused on baseload projects and had pushed the renewables as soon as he came in 2018, would we be in a very different place right now?
So I have sympathy for Minister Mantashe when people talk like that, because when Minister Mantashe came in, he had to first amend the integrated resource plan before continuing with its implementation. They had been, the previous administration had stopped the implementation of the IRP. The IRP document itself had become irrelevant. He had to first deal with that particular issue of revising the IRP, which he did. And then it resulted in the IRP 2019. And ever since the publication of the IRP 2019, Minister Mantashe has done very well in terms of the implementation. Forget about the many things that he says in the public domain. I think the old man is just under pressure. But in terms of implementation of the IRP, Minister Mantashe has done very well, in my view. The challenge has been that the fact that he is implementing this introducing new generation capacity following the problem, because there has been delays before his time. That led to some of the challenges that we're facing at the moment. That's why even himself, sometimes he feels like he's being put under unnecessary pressure, and the pressure should go to his counterpart at Public Enterprises and Eskom. And on the other hand, Public Enterprises and Eskom have got their own challenges with the delays that happened in terms of the maintenance of these power stations. And also, if you look at the tariffs that we pay to Eskom, they are not even cost reflective. That was one of the biggest problems for quite a long time, because there was basically no money to properly maintain some of these systems, because most of the money that Eskom was generating, or the little that they were generating, it was going into servicing the 460 billion rand loan that they had, mainly or partly due to the new build program at Mitupi and Kusile. So the challenges are quite many, and I don't think Minister Mantashe is a problem. I don't think Pravin Gordhan is a problem. I also don't think that the current Eskom management is a problem. They just need to come up with a solution that includes, for now, I think the original equipment manufacturers must come into Eskom as quickly as possible.
Well, you've preempted my final question. I was going to say, does your sympathy extend to Minister Pravin Gordhan? Because he's releasing a statement saying, I'm putting pressure on Eskom. But it could be argued that's rich, because he said that money would be supplied for diesel. Where's that?
Yes, so that's partly the issue. And the money, that we must remember that the money does not come from public enterprises, it comes from National Treasury. Safe to say that Public Enterprises and Eskom needs to make a submission to National Treasury to request the money. But if we look at the problem in its totality, it's very difficult to blame individuals. For me, the problem comes a long way. And what we need to be focusing on now is, what is the solution? What is it that needs to be done like now? There are people who've talked about some maintenance plans that were there in the past. How do we operationalize the current maintenance plan? How do we fast track the president's plan in trying to resolve this problem? Because there are aspects, short-term measures that the president has proposed, which need to kick in. But those short-term measures, they need to be financed. Where do we get the money as quickly as possible to finance those short-term measures and deal with and bring in also new generation capacity? And I must say, I welcome the announcement of the signing of the 13 IPPs, but their power is only going to come in 2 years' time. We're not going to have power from them at this point in time. What we need to focus on now is to focus on trying to resolve the breakdowns that we have at the moment. In my view, there is a need to properly diagnose and properly analyze each and every one of these breakdowns and do forensic analysis of these breakdowns to establish whether this talk of sabotage is real, because if that is real, it's going to derail the whatever work that Eskom will be doing.
All right, Professor, thank you for that very holistic understanding of a complex situation. That was from the Stellenbosch University Centre for Renewable and Sustainable Energy Studies Director, Professor Sampson Mamphweli.